Hello and welcome to Global Desi Women, a podcast that celebrates powerful voices, stories from across South Asian around the world. I'm your host Arti Salanki, real estate broker, business coach, and your fellow Desi women entrepreneur on a mission to highlight journeys of strength, creativity, and identity. Today, we are honored to feature a true cultural pioneer, Vandita Parikh, the founder of NSD, that stands for Nartan School of Dance and Arts, established in 1994 in Chennai, India. Through her groundbreaking initiative, Dance as Service, she's reshaping how we see Indian folk and classical dance, not as something that ends with an iron rhythm, which is I guess it is called graduation for cultural dance, but as a living, breathing expression of identity, social change, and storytelling. So let's grab a cup of chai and dive into this beautiful conversation about movement, meaning, and legacy. Thank you so much, Vandita, for joining us today. I truly appreciate your time.
Thank you, Aarti, for having me. Thank you so very much, listeners. Thank you very much.
Yes. So let's start all the way from the beginning. What inspired you to establish the NSDA back in 1994? That's been quite a while now.
Yes. Okay, so my story goes like this. I'm a Gujarati born and brought up in Chennai. So, an odd one right there.
Yeah.
And not many Gujaratis take dance, as their careers. Yes, of course,
Right.
we are introduced to it as a hobby that they say. But I was blessed to have my mom who was born and brought up in Kerala. So why I bring this is that many of our South Indian cultures, music and dance is also a part of the growth. And I was blessed with that as well. So it was not that I should be doing any kind of art as an extracurricular activity. It was a part of my regular growth. So even subjects like math, science were equally important, like dance. That's what my mom would just say. And I was introduced to Bharatanatyam from Kalakshetra. After 17 years doing Bharatanatyam, I happened to, by chance, through a student exchange program, introduced to Indian folk dances with Patpina Performing Arts in Ahmedabad, Malika Sarabhai School. And that really was, like, I felt it was my calling because being brought up in Chennai, having a mixed culture from home, doing cuisines included both Tamil cuisines and Gujarati cuisines. Festivals were a mixture of both the cultures. My mother being from Kerala, there was something of the Keralite culture also while bringing up. So there were so many stories and there were so many, beliefs, traditions that I used to always be searching why this, why that. And when I started doing this folk dances and learning them, my answers were that's just when my questions were answered that yeah, now I understand why this and why that.
Yeah.
Then the storytelling element that the folk traditions have truly caught me. I thought that was what I was waiting for to define and learn and redefine my dance journey.
Yeah.
So then, of course, got married, but I was blessed with a very good household where I was sent, where they also respected dance a lot. My husband, my in-laws, in fact, it was my father-in-law who came up with this ideas because I did criminology in my master's.
Wow.
And I was also, very fortunate to have worked under Miss Kiran Bedi's time during our when this reformation, rehabilitation. That's when it was picking up in India and
Right.
looking at as victims, so victimology and all that came was taking shape, and how art was considered that it could help people rehabilitate, we had
Right.
helped people reform, right? So that's when all these things, the various parallel journeys that my life was taking, brought me to why don't I start doing this in Chennai, then trying to teach Bharatanatyam because in Chennai we had so many Bharatanatyam schools.
Right.
And if you remember, Arti, during that time, suddenly, this is during the Orchid time, right? We
Right.
had advertisements becoming more like filmmaking. We
Yes.
started having these dance culturals in colleges, right? So
Oh,
that's when I thought that instead of practicing folk dance, I mean, why don't I introduce folk dances to the community, see how they are received?
And that is
And
so different than the regular,
yes,
any kind of a cultural dance is so
yes.
different. And it also brings, because in India, we have so many different states with their own different cultural folk dances, right? So majority of the states have their own dance per
Mhm,
se, right? Like the Assamese have their Assam dance, and of course the South has their own, and then everybody like North has our own Garba, and like everybody has their different folk dance, and
mhm,
to it's such a wide range of I guess colors and music and meaning, and it's to study those and to bring them to the world. I feel like you're doing such a huge job with that, because we somehow, even I think in India, some of the dances we hardly get to see now.
mhm.
They're losing the touch of
Yeah.
it. And so it is so important to keep that as our culture. And I'm very impressed with what you do, and it's amazing, because we need more people like you to keep our culture going and keep our roots going. And that is one of the reasons we started this podcast, is because of that we want to make sure that Desi women has been heard, our culture stays strong, our community is strong, and we need to bring forward women like you who are making such a difference and impact in this world. So
Thank
bravo to you. I feel
thank
like
you.
this
Thank you
is
very
really,
much.
really good. And besides, I'm going to go a little bit off topic,
Sure.
because you said you're Gujarati
Uh-huh.
and from Chennai. What language did you speak at home?
Both actually, and three languages actually. It was,
Oh,
yeah. So back home in Tamil Nadu, Tamil was a mandatory third language in schools. So all of us knew
mm,
our mother tongue, and of course English and Hindi, and the languages that our schools were, having us take. So it was French in some schools. The convent schools had French, and the schools that we all went to, the what are they called? The CBSE schools, the Central Board schools, they
right.
had the local languages. So I took Tamil from Tamil, that they say, from kindergarten onwards till the 12th grade. So I can read, write, and yeah.
Speak
And Gujarati was, of
fluently
course,
and
taught at home.
everything. Wow.
My grandparents were ardent readers, and literature was like, very commonly discussed at home and all that. So I was blessed with making sure they made sure that I know the Gujarati literature very well, because my grandmother always used to tell me that wherever you go, I need a letter from you in Gujarati. At
Yeah.
least learn that much. And yeah. And
That
then folk,
reminds me
right?
of my grandmother, because she taught me how to read and write, which my reading is very, very slow. I can read Gujarati, but it's very, very slow. Like
Yeah.
I can, it's not at the speed that I want it to be. So, but I still keep the practice. I still have a few books that are in Gujarati, and I still read
Okay.
them, but it goes very slow. But I still try it.
And Kavya, Kavita, like they say, are the
Right.
core of all folk traditions, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that got me. And I can speak Choti Marwadi, Badi Marwadi very well because I traveled in
Oh
Rajasthan
my
very
goodness.
ardently learning them. Then
Wow.
I can, of course, understand Malayalam bomb being from Kerala. So, yeah, six, seven languages.
Wow, impressive. Very impressive. Are these two Choti Marwadi, Badi Marwadi? Is
A
there
little
a lot
different
of
in the
different?
dialect. In the dialect, a little different. Like, even the Kalbelias, who are the gypsies from Rajasthan, since they are more like nomads who go from one place to the other, they pick up the dialect of that particular region. So, the way the pronunciation, since you're a fellow Gujarati, let me tell you, આપણા અમદાવાદની ગુજરાતી versus આપણા વેરાવળ કે see the difference?
That or
Like
anybody's
saying
very
thepla as dhebra and all that things.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. I know. So tell me a little bit about how do you come across, like how do you plan your dances? Like do you have a specific, like a regular, how you have in Bharatanatyam, the regular
Mhm.
classes, like they have a
The curriculum.
curriculum. So how do you go with that? How do you plan your, I guess, curriculum or dances, or what do you do? How do you do it?
So this is definitely a question that I've been asked too often, and it was how I struggled initially. I wanted to know how to, especially when I came to the US. Like I said, back home, when before I came here, it was just teaching in culturals and according to what they needed for the cultural, especially to win the placement and what we want to
Right.
do different and things that way. Here,
Yeah.
when I came, and I'm blessed with three daughters. But when I came, I had my oldest was 5 years old, and when she started her schooling here, there were times she was like just like all our South Asian kids, a lot of confusion, a lot of questions that their mind had, right? And especially when it came to the deities that we have in our mythology, right? Why is Durga worshipped as Kali in Bengal? Why is it Yelama in Andhra? Why is it Amba in Gujarat? Why are the stories different? And why are the dances that celebrate these stories different? And
Yeah.
when are these dances performed? How are they performed? What is a prop? Are
Yeah.
props functional? Are they ornamental? Like, for example, when we do Garba in Gujarat, we carry the Mandavi, the
Mm.
goddess's temple
Yeah.
over our head. So that is not called a ornamental prop, right? Whereas when we are doing Hudo, we carry the umbrella. That becomes ornamental. So all these questions used to be, when we used to talk, my daughter and I. So I said, why not come up with a curriculum that helps the students connect with these stories, right? So
Mm.
then I started with simpler topics, festivals. I call it Tyohar.
Mm.
Why is the harvest festival in South India, especially in Tamil Nadu, called Pongal? The very
Yeah.
same harvest festival called in Andhra as Sankranti. The very same harvest festival is celebrated differently in Gujarat called Uttaran. There
Right.
we believe in flying kites, and
Yeah.
here they believe in what to say, bringing. They actually make pongal, and they believe the
Right.
pongal needs to when they boil the pongal needs to come out of the pot, thereby thanking Mother Earth. So I started with topics like these. Then it was Tyohar,
Amazing.
which I brought about. Then it was Dharaye Bani Dishaye, which means I started using rivers as the chapter as to
Mm.
wherever Ganges flows from,
Right.
Yamuna flows from. What are the tribes? What are the festivals connected to these riversides? People.
Wow.
So then I came up with a story and like a production and connected these together. Then there was
Now,
one,
with those stories, I'm
yeah,
trying
these
to
were stories.
imagine to put those stories in your performances.
Yeah,
It's like,
like it's a
I
very
can't
beautiful
even
one.
imagine.
And believe me, Aarti, it just came about. So I was putting all these dances together. So how to connect it, right? So we came up with this story. I mean, that um, say a mother like me, I die in the US. And my
Mm.
daughter knows very well that my heart is still very Indian and I miss my country.
Right.
So the story went about that the heroine of the play decides to take her mother's ashes to all the rivers of India, not just Ganga, and have her mother's, wishes, to flow with the rivers of India. So
My
she,
goodness.
so we showed in the on the projector. We showed where she lands in the flight, where she takes the train to which station. So that way, even the audience would know, my students would know. Oh, this is how you travel.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
how we started connecting things.
Wow, that sounds so amazing. I want to come see one of your performances.
Please do.
This
Yes, yes.
sounds so amazing. So is it like every time it's different or
So January is when our dance years, we start a new curriculum. And
Mm.
so I've done Tyohar, I've done Dharai, I have done something called Lok Nritya Dwani. Like, why is this particular dhol used in Darba? Why is the dhol is a different dhol is the Nagada is used in a
Yeah.
different state? How come the very same Dolo Kunita in similar dhol but used in Karnataka? Then
Mm.
how's the Bihu dhols different or they have the khols, the instrument that they play in Assam. How is that beat different than the usual tabla beat? So I called it the Lok Nritya Dwani. So these are the various topics I come up with. And then at the end of the year, we do it like a production where all my students, perform together. But
Perform.
I try not to make it like this group comes and goes and leaves. Rather, we all work together. And so even the little kids get to see how the seniors are performing. The seniors help how to the little kids to line
Right.
them up, to get them ready. So it's more like a dance family working together.
Yeah. So do they only enroll that 1 year? So like after the performance is done and they're done, or they just keep continuing with
So
you?
my students have been with me, I would say a minimum of 13 to 14 years. Yeah, because
Wow.
learning, I'm still learning, Aarti. When
Right,
can we
right.
ever say that I know all the folk dances of
Everything.
India? We
No,
don't,
you
we
can
can't.
never.
Every state has so many of them, and
Yeah.
not to forget the tribal dances because these are oral traditions, right, Aarti? Not
Yeah.
everything is. How does a folk dance become famous when people come to know about it? The Garba, Bhangra, Gidda are famous. Kudo or even our the Gov Guthan that we do in Gujarat. As you dance, you make the braids. Those dances are not heard of.
I don't
The,
even know about that one.
the Videsia from Bihar is not heard of.
Yeah. The only one I remember is the one that the women carries the pots and then they're on a plate and then
Yeah,
they
that is called Bhavai from Rajasthan.
I remember that. That's very beautiful.
Yeah,
Very
so
beautiful.
Rajasthan has around 8 folk dances, which are actually Rajasthan is a state UNESCO recognized as India's intangible heritage. Those folk dances. So those artists have been given a lot of opportunities to perform everywhere in the world. But again, not all state and not all folk
Yeah,
artists get this opportunity.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, even in the South, I feel like there's so many
Many,
different kind of dances, right? There's Kachipudi, there's
yeah. So you see, all that the kuchipudi that you said and all that are 8 classical dance forms, and there are only 8 classical dance forms in the whole of India because they follow the
ah,
dance epic called Natya Shastra.
I see.
Whereas we folk dances, you can't even count them. There are that many of
Right,
them.
right.
So
Yeah,
the
so that is Kuchipudi, right? That's a classical form,
classical
not
dance.
a folk dance. I'm trying to think, what is the folk dance in South? Which one is it?
Okay, there are many. See, like from Tamil Nadu comes Kolatam, Oilatam, Mailatam, Silambatam, Karagatam. So
Oh, wow.
comes from Tamil Nadu alone. From our Kerala, we have Tayyam, Kolkali, Oppanna, we have Tiruvathakali, so many from there. From our Karnataka, we have Yakshagana, we have Dolu Kunita, we have Kamsale, and so many more.
Lord.
Veeradhasini. Bhutakola. Remember you saw the I don't know whether you got the chance to see the movie. What is that? Kanatara.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that
So
was
that is
so
actually a folk
amazing.
tradition of Karnataka called Bhutakola. So,
Yeah, that was wow. Very powerful.
see,
Very,
that's
very
how
powerful.
now people come to know about these folk traditions. Thanks
Yeah.
to the movies, thanks to Sanjay Leela Bansali.
Yeah, it was
Many of
very
them.
different. I couldn't wait to watch it. And as soon as it came, I watched it and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, does this really happen to the person? Like at the end, they just,
So basically, these are you have a similar tradition like that in Goa too. So yeah,
okay.
so it's called Rakhandar. Yeah. So what they do is these are all the deities that the villagers worship, and the idols are kept in the outskirts of the village, and they think that their presence will help the village. They would protect the village, and make sure that no evil spirits enter the village.
Enter the
And
village.
if at all it does, these people get into the trance and make sure that it affects them and not the people.
Not
So
wow.
that.
That is so touching because I know when I watched Kantara, I was like, oh, whoa. This
And
is
imagine these are such very, very old folk traditions. But
yeah.
I must say, thanks to these filmmakers, that they brought it out to the younger generations now. Otherwise, not many would know. And then these folk dances would die.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. So can you tell us a little bit about the Dance as Service initiative that you have?
So this again, I would say my daughters taught me. My students, who especially came from I think the middle school level, from 8th grade onwards, I think
Mhm.
they are required, right, in all our school districts to do this voluntary hours.
You're right.
So at one point, I realized that they were doing these service hours just to get these, hours
Hours.
recorded. It was not out of wanting to serve or
Right.
calling the calling that I need to, just do this kind of I shouldn't use the word service, but something which is called an outreach, right?
Right.
Beyond what you are doing. So then
Right.
what that's when around 2006, 2007, I introduced Dance for Service, where I sat with the kids who have been with me from around say 8+ years, and they were going to go move on to college, and the parents were like, how do we graduate them? So I said, why not remove the Manch Pravesh or Arangetram entirely out of this? From ninth grade onwards, the students would start, searching for charities that relate to what the cause that they feel very
Feel like,
deeply about. Could be women related, children related, medical, cancer, anything that moves them, anything that they feel very strongly about. And there is a nonprofit that actually works for these audiences, like who they would want to work with. So
right.
then the students connect with them and work with them for 3 to 4 years. So that way now they are working towards a cause that they
Truly like,
truly like, feel about, and want to make a change,
yeah,
right? So then I also ask the parents that whatever they have left, kept budget wise aside for their Arangetram, why not instead donate it to that non-profit in the student's name? That
yeah,
way, there is a connection, and then the student continues to work with the non-profit even after they graduate, because then service becomes a second nature.
yeah, yeah.
Once we
Has
start
that become
inculcating these
on?
things,
Has that become a conflict for you? Like, I'm sure there are a lot of people who feel like the algorithm is essential. Is it has to be done. It has to be because I've seen they're done like a lavish wedding expense.
so, Arti, it is again, I can't impose this, right? But
Right.
I must say that the teens and the young adults today definitely have so much passion inside them, and they're so ready to make a change. Yes, there are still people who see that folk or classical dance forms should end up in a Rangetram, but I think, and I'm very fortunate that my dance family also believes that it is so much more. Dance should be a way to tell stories that matter about
Yeah.
identity, about change, about lived experiences. I want to help my students, the families, all of us. We've also been so away from home that we've forgotten certain traditions that our mothers used to celebrate or do
Yeah.
with us, right?
Absolutely.
So I want to revive all of them, bring all of these together, and not just see it as a tradition, but as a living, breathing art that evolves with us, and what to say, speaks to our lives also. So
Right.
that is when the passion that the teens had inside helped me, and I'm glad. I believe me, every year the students are now ready. The seniors have prepared the juniors so well that the juniors shadow them when the seniors are working with them. Like, for example, my students just went last weekend to Grace, Gateway to Grace. It's a refugee center. They
Mm.
went there, danced for the people who were there, shared stories with them. Sometimes people just need somebody to listen to them.
Yeah.
And they danced with them, danced for them, taught them a little bit of dancing. And when they came back, also, the students had so much to share. And they were like, Auntie, we have so much. Can we go back again? Can we do again? So, those things tell me that our kids do want to make a
Yeah.
change.
And that does make a difference. And anyways, I feel like any music and dance just uplifts your spirit. It doesn't matter what kind of a music you're listening to and what kind of a dance it is. As soon as you see a couple of people dancing, you feel like you want to get up and dance too. You want to move a little bit.
Definitely.
Whether at least I'm that way. I can't. If the dance floor is open, people are dancing, I'm gonna be in there. I'm not gonna wait.
I assure you, Aarti, not just dance, music, art truly has this transformative power
Yeah.
to heal, Many
Yeah.
a times, like, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a professional counselor, I'm not a certified psychologist, I'm not here to help with any mental challenges or
Right.
conditions. But I want the dance school to be the space, to give them the opportunity, the platform that it is, my purpose is rooted in movement, emotional release, and building their self confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you seen it over the years, or at least this part of the world, have you seen the classical dance or the folk dance evolved, becoming more and more like global and digital? Like we are into
Yes,
a
right.
very
I
digital
think, and
world.
I take it as a boon, actually.
Okay.
See the spread that the media has, the reach that the social media has these days, or the
Mm.
influences the social media has on the youth. I feel if if the dances which were first done in the temples then moved on to the auditoriums, and now they are limited to making reels,
Yeah.
that's become the norm now. You know,
So
I
one
used
minute, show your talent in 1 minute. That's it.
I used to be doing dances which were 12 minutes. Then
Yeah.
I reached a point that the organizer would say, Didi, not more than five. Then I reached a point where the organizers would say, Didi, not more than three. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, people want, can you make a reel? So,
Yeah.
so the purpose is to make a reel, right?
That's
But I'm like, okay, at least they still want to do that dance.
that.
At least
Oh,
they still
yeah.
want to learn about that folk. And
Yeah.
they want to do that folk in the reel, right?
Yeah.
And then they, what do they say, they tag these
Yeah.
people who come from that particular state. Like, for
Right.
example, I did that Kamsale 2 days
Yeah.
ago. We performed at the Hindu temple. We performed this Karnataka folk dance called Kamsale. One
Mm.
person from the audience came and told me that she had seen it when she was, a baby, and then she left India, and now she's been here for long, but never got the opportunity to ever. She went back to see the folk dance, and she was
Mm.
so happy that she reconnected with her childhood when she saw it.
Yeah.
And when the kids posted it in the media and tagged people, they
Yeah.
immediately tagged, the folks from Karnataka and things that way. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, as far as it reaches the purpose, it's
Yeah.
fine.
And it's so nice that kids understand that, okay, they kind of learn with what state is what folk
Yeah,
dance. Like I had no idea about what South India had
yeah.
the folk dances, right? I know a little bit. I'm from North, so I know a little bit about the North, but I had zero idea about the
That
South.
was one of the main reasons, Aarti, that I wanted to bring this about, because sadly we are born and brought up in India, but how little do we know about all the states? Let's
Yeah.
be honest. I was born in South India. I didn't know much, anything actually about the northeastern states.
And I think mainly because we didn't have social media at that time,
We didn't,
and
so
we
we
didn't
didn't
have
have social media.
internet. We were just in our own little world of wherever we were living. And I'm pretty sure you and I, we both didn't come from a village side or countryside where there were folk dances going on. We were in the city, so we didn't get to see all those folk
And
dances.
you know why, Aarti? These folk dances were actually shown in Doordarshan, but they were shown at 11 p.m. in the night.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Look at that. So I feel for the art to actually get what it's due, it's not just the people, the performers, but even everybody, the society, the government, everybody needs to, help for the dance to survive through the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the reason I started this curriculum. And I have exams at the end of every school year. I have a
Wow.
professional, I have a dance teacher or a dance performer, or somebody who also believes in not just classical learning of a performer, but also this folk learning. So I
Mm.
choose from the database of these performers, invite them over. They stay with us for a week to 10 days. They, take the exam for each one of the students. The exams are written, oral, and performing. So demonstration. And thus the children want to learn. Of course, maybe the purpose is to excel in the exam, but still they're learning in that
Oh,
case,
yeah,
right? The
yeah.
purpose is there.
Wow. So, so you've been doing this for so many years now. Can you share us a story of maybe a student that was there for you with you for many years and how it has transformed their life, or anything, any incident or anything special that you feel like, okay, after doing this for so many years, I feel like, yes, I've done my job and this is what I wanted to hear.
To be honest, I have so many. I will not say that my students who graduated and moved on in life then just continued and discontinued it, keeping in touch with me. All of my students make it a point, like today's Guru Purnima, to
Yeah.
text me or to call me. And of course, that is Vijay Dashmi. They make it a point to reach out to me on those days. And most of my annual performances, the productions I do, all my graduates come back and they perform, they do backstage roles, they do coordination, they take care of lights, makeup, however they can, they are with me. So I tell you, one story that you're asking me to tell me, I'm not too sure if I found out one, but I can tell you there are so many students. And I would say one such incident is a student actually made me sit in her wedding to give kanyadan
Oh my
along with her
goodness.
parents. Yeah.
Wow.
So that is one thing that touched me immensely. And
That
like
is
honestly, many, many more. One student was introduced to Hinduism through the school. Otherwise, she was not born a Hindu. But then she liked the Indian traditions. She liked how everything had some meaning. That in her Christian wedding, she incorporated the fera that we say around
wow.
the in the church.
Wow.
So many such things have touched me, I must say, that they took dance beyond the classroom.
Beyond the classroom, yeah. And I think that's where it is a success for you, right? Because that is the purpose for you to start this, that it's not just, it doesn't just end at the
Yes.
graduation, the Arangratham, but it continues in your life, and it brings, I guess it changes people how they see, because all these folk dance stories have such a deeper meaning to us. They're teaching some valuable lessons to us, and through those, I guess, they stay connected.
And this generation, I don't know whether you agree with me, don't you think they need a safe, creative outlet? You know,
Hmm.
especially our South Asian kids,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
our children, right?
Right.
They are navigating through the complexities of cultural expectations, generational differences, academic pressures, right? So I thought, okay, everybody wants to do something so that the college resume looks stronger than her peers. No, at one point it was that way.
Yeah.
Then I was like, let's not do dance service for that purpose, but let dance be more towards therapy. Actually, I introduced dance therapy, I think around 2007 or 8.
Mm.
And that was the main reason that the kids were filled with so many of these complexities that I thought dance should, the first purpose of dance in their lives should be holistic and therapeutic. A refuge where they can just come and submit themselves.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, like I said before, dance and music, you just forget about everything.
Yeah,
You
very
just, you
tranquil.
feel so stress free, and then you just doing your thing, and you don't think about anything else at that
Right?
point.
Yeah. Reconnect with our emotions is very important, because
Yeah.
we're always running pillar to post. We
Yeah.
are running, the kids are running, when the high schoolers are, I don't know, they're so sleep deprived. They're
Yeah.
constantly trying to make their resume stronger. So I feel when they walk into the dance class, I provide, there should be a space, non judgmental, something where they can reconnect with their emotions, something that relieves stress their anxiety. I mean, helps them to form a community, right? A cultural connection.
Yeah.
And many a times I feel it helps them explore their own identity safely.
Yeah, yeah. This reminds me of the movie Ek Duje Ke Liye, where Kamal Hassan learns Bharatnatyam just to get his anger and stress out, because he was not supposed to see the girlfriend, and
Yeah.
so he was kind of so frustrated. So he was learning Bharatnatyam. He was dancing Bharatnatyam to release his
And
stress.
I'm sure being a dancer, he must have told the director to add this.
Yeah, he's a very good dancer.
I, I mean, I can associate dance entirely to be a balm for me.
Yeah,
It truly is my, not just a passion, I would say. It's more than that. It's my refuge. It
yeah.
helps me. So I wanted to make sure that students who come to me also see dance like
What advice would you give to a young Desi woman who wants to follow a creative or a cultural path?
through dance, you mean, or art, or any.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
So there you are, right? All of us, whichever state we've come from, whichever background we've come from, we are we are Desi women. We all have come from India, and in India we dance for everything.
Everything.
Birth of a child, weddings, people coming home. I mean, we dance during when people pass away too.
Mm.
Dance is a part of our growth. Dance is a part of our own identity. Why do we need to go to classes to perform? Why can't we, we do yoga, right? Most of us understand the importance of yoga in today's
Yoga.
lives
Yeah.
because we all need to be spiritually connected to ourselves, right?
Right.
Why dance, music, art can do the same thing. It is so important to not just be physically fit, but to be emotionally and spiritually fit. And the moms in the US, especially us, we are superheroes of superheroes. How many roles we play? The cook, the driver, the friend, the wife, the
Everything.
cleaner, the janitor, the everything, and not to forget a career too, right? So
Yes.
then, what is the time that we feel this is my time?
My
This
time.
is the me time now. I feel music, dance, and art is it's there, right there for you.
Yeah.
Simple rhythms, simple storytelling. See, during in my dance therapy class, I don't like I said, I'm not a counselor or therapist, but when my students come for the dance therapy class, we don't start off saying that, oh, we are going to start the therapy like this. No. As everybody comes, we play simple rhythms, start off with simple storytelling like, hey, how was your day? Anything in the week that you happened that you want to share? Something that you remember? Some and we start off with simple storytelling.
Mm.
Then we would say that, hey, we have this puja at home. Really? We do the same puja, but we do it this way. The other one has to say, oh, my mother used to make this with it.
Right.
Slowly, each one shares this story. And then comes the time that, do you want to move with this rhythm? Today I'm not feeling that good. But do you think, just try now? No. So it's not about technique in the dance
Yes.
therapy classes. It's just to let the music flow through you
Yeah.
and have your emotions find a release.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that is very important. And that is, it's not, I'm nobody to give an advice, but I would just tell you this through through my personal experience. I lost both my parents and I lost my father just 3 months ago.
Oh,
And
I'm
if not
sorry.
for dance, it would have been very difficult for me.
Yeah.
It's not that I've overcome it, but dance has made it a little easier to face it because art has that transformative power. You don't have to exchange any words.
Yeah.
You don't have to, you don't even have to word out what you're feeling. You simply can share this through music. So
Yes.
please have dance and music and art anyway, whichever
Anyway.
form you like, be a part of your growth, and please make sure that it is a part of your children's growth. Let it
Absolutely.
not be an extracurricular hobby, but a part of your
Art.
growth.
Yep. Yep. It is very important. I mean, like at any age, not just the kids, I feel like music and art and dance, it should be a part of.
Of course, you know what the age of my oldest student is? She's 71. And my youngest is 5.
Oh, yeah, there is no age for learning art. I just started learning Weena. So
Oh, lovely.
yeah, yeah,
I'm sure you can resonate with what I'm saying.
yeah, I just love, it was my dream of learning it for many, many years. And so finally this year, I picked it up and I started learning. So it has, and I can totally understand when you're saying it. Like, when I sit down after such a busy day and everything. And at night, it doesn't matter how late it gets. I'm like, nope, I need to
And
do
to
my Vina
practice.
before I sleep. And as soon as I sit there, it's like, whew, it's like the Zen mode just kicks in.
See, art even inculcates discipline, right?
Yeah.
That is, we do want that in our kids. So
Yeah.
I feel all moms should definitely insist on having both of these learning processes of the regular subjects and art side by side.
Yes, absolutely. So one last question. What does Global Daisy Women mean to you?
We are, like I said, superpowers. We left everything back home and restarted our lives here. And yet we are so enterprising. We adjusted to everything and made sure we did not let these challenges define us, but we literally went head on, met them, and now we've defined the American Desi way of life our way.
Yes.
So
Oh,
thank
wow.
you.
Very well said. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Vandita. This was been really, sharing your vibrant journey with us today. It's really awesome. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
And
you.
your work is a reminder that art and the path to heal, to connect, and to uplift, like we talked about. And you've shown us that dance is not just a performance. It's a purpose, passion, and a platform for change. So thank you again, and to
And I
all.
think before going, may I say that I would like to thank you for discussing such topics, because to bring such topics in your platform, giving us the space to talk about it, somebody had to do it. And I'm so happy that you're spearheading this space. And I wish you the best for many, many, many more milestones.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And to all our listeners, if you have liked this conversation, if you have been moved by this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And you can absolutely buy us a coffee, a chai, and there's a link to support. That's a support in our description. So you can do that. Until next time, stay bold, stay Daisy, and keep telling your stories. And don't forget to be kind to yourself and to others. Thank you.
Thank you.